Your mind is active long before you become aware of it. Even in moments that feel empty, quiet, or still, when nothing appears to be happening, the brain is continuously working. It interprets signals, predicts outcomes, compares patterns, and adjusts your perception of reality without ever asking for your attention. Most of this activity happens outside conscious awareness. What you experience as the present moment has already been filtered, organized, and simplified. Every second, your brain receives an overwhelming amount of information. Light, sound, movement, temperature, pressure, internal sensations, memories, expectations, and emotions all arrive at the same time. Processing everything consciously would be impossible. To prevent overload, the mind makes decisions for you. It selects what seems important and ignores the rest. What you perceive is not the world exactly as it is, but a version designed to feel coherent, stable, and manageable. This is why reality feels continuous, even though attention constantly shifts. When something leaves your field of vision, the brain assumes it continues to exist. When a sound briefly disappears, your mind fills the gap. When an experience lacks detail, the brain supplies what is missing. The sense of stability you feel is not a direct reflection of reality, but a construction maintained moment by moment. Memory plays a central role in this process. It does not function as a recording device that stores events exactly as they occurred. Memory is reconstructive. Each time you remember something, you rebuild it using fragments of information, emotion, and context. Details shift slightly with each recall. This does not happen because memory is broken, but because it is flexible. The brain prioritizes meaning and coherence over precision. Two people can experience the same moment and later describe it in completely different ways. Both feel confident, both believe they are accurate. The mind protects its version of events because certainty feels safer than doubt. Questioning memory requires effort. Accepting it feels natural. Prediction is another core function of the mind. Your brain is constantly anticipating what will happen next. It uses past experience to forecast movement, sound, and outcome. This allows you to respond quickly without conscious deliberation. When predictions match reality, you notice nothing. When they fail, surprise, discomfort, or confusion emerge. Even basic movement depends on prediction. When you reach for an object, your brain has already calculated its position, weight, and resistance before your hand makes contact. Conscious awareness follows the action. The sensation of control arrives after the process has already begun. This is why many decisions feel immediate. The preparation happened earlier, beneath awareness. Research suggests that brain activity associated with decision-making appears before a person becomes consciously aware of choosing. The feeling of intention comes later. This does not mean conscious choice is meaningless. It means awareness is only one layer of a much larger system. The mind handles complexity quietly, so that conscious thought can remain focused and efficient. Time perception is shaped by the same mechanisms. When experiences are new, varied, and rich in detail, the brain records more information. Time feels slower. When experiences become repetitive and predictable, fewer moments stand out. Time feels compressed. Days seem to pass quickly, not because they are shorter, but because less is stored in memory. This is why childhood often feels long, while adulthood feels fast. Novelty stretches time. Routine contracts it. Time is not measured only by clocks. It is shaped by attention and memory. Silence reveals another side of perception. In environments with little or no sound, the brain struggles. Deprived of external input, it turns inward. People begin to notice internal noises such as breathing, heartbeat, and subtle bodily sensations. The mind fills the absence with activity. Complete silence is not calming for most people. It removes reference points. Without feedback, orientation weakens. Focus drifts. This demonstrates how dependent perception is on constant stimulation. Vision behaves in similar ways. In low light or minimal detail, the brain invents structure. Shadows become shapes. Stillness becomes presence. The mind prefers interpretation over emptiness. Emotion often appears before explanation. Feelings of unease, familiarity, or tension can arise without a clear cause. The brain detects patterns too subtle to reach conscious awareness. Something feels wrong, even when you cannot explain why. This process is not mysterious, it is protective. The mind evolved to detect change and inconsistency quickly. Conscious explanation comes later, if it comes at all. In social settings, these mechanisms intensify. Individuals unconsciously adjust behavior to match those around them. Emotions spread through groups. Attention narrows. The mind aligns with others because belonging reduces uncertainty. Agreement feels safer than standing apart. This is why crowds can behave in ways individuals never would alone. Reflection weakens. Reaction dominates. Responsibility becomes diffused. The environment also shapes perception. Colors influence mood. Lighting affects judgment. Sound alters focus. Space guides movement. Most of these influences operate below awareness. They are effective precisely because they do not announce themselves. What feels natural is often designed. What feels spontaneous is often guided. The unsettling realization is not that the mind is flawed. It is that it is efficient. It prioritizes speed, stability, and survival over completeness. What feels real is useful, not necessarily accurate. Becoming aware of this does not stop the process. The mind continues to filter, predict, and simplify. But awareness changes the relationship with these processes. You begin to notice pauses between stimulus and response. Thoughts arise and pass without immediate identification. Attention becomes more deliberate. Details once ignored become visible. Silence becomes informative instead of empty. The world does not change. The mind does not change. What changes is where awareness rests. Once attention shifts, it rarely returns completely to where it was before. Observation becomes part of experience. The mind continues its work quietly in the background. You simply notice it happening. And in that noticing, perception slowly and subtly transforms.